my daughter was on Instagram following secondary school.
Yeah.
Goes to a very normal secondary school, and when they started there, we allowed some social media access, and we were very, very careful about how to do that, and we agreed that she could be on Instagram with her friends on the basis that we were also her friend on Instagram, and therefore we could see any posts that were going on, and we could see what was going on her social media. And that was fairly successful, or so we thought, policy. Unfortunately, out of nowhere, we discovered that she had been groomed by an online paedophile group who had made friends with her and convinced her to share, very nasty images and videos, and completely they threatened her with horrible, horrible things.
So it escalates, doesn't it? You start off doing something that involves a degree of persuasion, and once you've done that, they threaten to share that if you don't do something else. Is that right? I don't want to...
It's hugely, so it's a bit like manipulative relationships in grown-ups.
Yes.
But obviously, these people are, very, very clever and know exactly what they're doing.
And did your little girl think that
12, 13-year-old
did she think she'd found a boyfriend or something like that?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, God.
And she knows not to talk to people she doesn't know, not to reply to messages, but they put their web out across all kinds of things. So they go, "Hi, I see you like horse riding, or I see you like Ed Sheeran," and once a conversation begins, and for her it was, "Who are you? Leave me alone."
Yeah.
That's all it took for them to say, "Hi, no, it's okay. We know each other through this group."
Right.
And then over time, because they're dealing with 50 or 60, they're doing it with 50 or 60 people all at the same time, they convince you to become more intimate and share an image.
Yeah.
And it's probably not, well, it wasn't a pornographic image. And then they convince you to, then they manipulate that and say, "Oh, I need more. I'll share this with your friends if you don't show me more."
Yeah.
Before you know what's going on, it is out in the open, horrible threats. So it becomes, "We will kidnap you, murder you, share this with your friends and family. If you don't, video stream, live video stream, all kinds of stuff."
At what point did you find out, and how did you find out?
So, I mean, this is a bomb that has gone off in our family.
I know.
All right? I took a month off work while we dealt with this. We were in the middle of a huge police and criminal investigation.
Christ.
This ring were from Saudi Arabia.
God.
These people. We only found out because she couldn't cope anymore and turned her phone off, and they shared images with all her school friends. And as you can imagine, that exploded.
Yeah.
Okay, now, why I need to tell you is there is no control over this. They don't need to register. Nobody needs to register to be on Instagram. It is riddled with paedophiles from all over the world seeking people to exploit, to sell images and videos, and Facebook can do nothing about it because they don't. If they close, what they do is they finally trap them, and then they shut it down, and then they pop up again.
Of course they do, and there's no recourse, especially given the international dimension that you've just described. Well, what could they do? You're hardly going to be able to get the Saudi Arabian authorities to intervene or to cooperate with authorities on the other side of the world.
Even when we were dealing with it, he just popped up again and threatened again and shared again, and it's just a relentless.
How is she, Chris? How is your girl?
She's safe now. She's okay. She's having counselling.
How are you?
Well, not good. It's really.
Is anyone looking after you, mate?
Yeah, we're talking to people.
Okay.
In fact, part of it, I am extremely, both me and my wife, very resourceful people.
Yes.
So we managed to get hold of Facebook at a very high level.
Yes.
While this was going on, plus we were dealing with the most senior paedophile police expert at the National Crime Agency directly, and we still couldn't. And other people, if you didn't have that leverage, it would go on longer and be worse. But it still is impossible for them to stop it.
Because, and then there's no easy way of putting this, images of your daughter remain in the possession of these paedophiles.
Correct.
And she has that knowledge hanging over her forever.
Yeah.
The crass question that springs to mind and that I feel I should ask is there anything you feel you could have done differently? Because that way perhaps prevention lies for other families.
So obviously we have challenged ourselves on that.
I know.
In some ways, we were, were we overprotective?
Right, so that she wouldn't tell you
wife,
because she thought it was innocuous flirting to start with.
With vulnerable families.
No.
And we know what goes on.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't know to this level, because we would never, the people that deal with this, the guy at the National Crime Agency, his daughters do not have any social media. And they have to live with that, and they question it, and he says, I don't care, you're not on it.
Do you know how old they are?
You send your kids to the park, his daughters are teenagers, yeah, true.
Right.
And he said, you wouldn't send your kids to the park if you knew that it was surrounded by paedophiles.
Jesus.
And you can say to them, don't say, if they direct message you, just say, you don't know, you go away, or just ignore them. But you wouldn't send them to the park saying, there are paedophiles there, but just ignore them. And in fact, not only are they paedophiles, but they don't look like paedophiles. They look like kids, and they look like your friends, and they're trying to make friends with you. Just ignore them.
Just only ever communicate with people you know in real life. If you have to communicate with anyone or take it away from them completely. I want you to understand something. I asked that question because everybody listening would expect me to. But I think one of the hardest things to accept, especially as a parent, is that you can never, ever do everything right. Or rather, you can do everything right and never, ever, ever insulate yourself from horrors coming into your life. We try to kid ourselves that we can. And I'm sure you and your wife must have beaten yourselves up to the nth degree. But sometimes really awful things happen to really good people for no reason other than dumb luck, don't they? Yeah. Or a degree, perhaps, of, I don't know, changing worlds and individuals not keeping up with them.